Listen carefully. The thing destroying your financial future isn't the economy. It isn't your salary. It isn't inflation or your boss or the government or the market being down or the cost of living being up. It's the snooze button you hit this morning. It's the investment account you were going to open last January. It's the side income you've been researching for 8 months without starting. It's the raise you deserved but never asked for. It's every single moment you looked at your situation and thought, not yet, soon, when things settle, when I'm more ready, when I have more saved, when the time is right. You have been ready. You've been ready for years. Comfort just convinced you otherwise. And while you waited, comfortable, stable, safe, compound interest didn't wait. Opportunity didn't wait. The people who started imperfectly and early didn't wait. They got further ahead. Every single month you stood still, they moved forward. This isn't a video about motivation. I'm not here to make you feel good about where you are. I'm here to show you exactly what comfort has already cost you in real numbers and what it will keep costing you every year you let it run unchecked. Because comfort isn't free. It never was. You've just been paying the bill without ever seeing the invoice. Until now.
So what exactly is the comfort trap? It is not laziness. The people who fall deepest into this trap are often the hardest working people in the room. They show up, they perform, they are responsible, reliable, and consistent. That is precisely why the trap works so well on them. The comfort trap is what happens when the safe choice and the right choice quietly stop being the same thing, and nobody tells you. It's the job that was a great decision 5 years ago, but is now a ceiling. It's the saving habit that felt responsible, but is actually just money sitting still while everything around it grows. It's the plan that made sense when you made it, and that you've never revisited since. The trap doesn't feel like a trap. That is the whole design of it. It feels like stability. It feels like being sensible. It feels every single day like exactly the right thing to do. And while it feels like all of those things, it is quietly, steadily, mathematically extracting wealth from your future. There are 3 specific ways it does this. We go from the hardest truth to the most painful number. By the end, you will have seen the full invoice.
Trap 1. And this is the one nobody wants to hear, because it requires the most honest conversation with yourself. We are taught from the beginning that risk is the enemy. Be careful. Don't lose what you have. Play it safe. And to a real and important point, that is wise. Reckless risk, gambling, speculation, betting everything on a single outcome is genuinely destructive. But there is a version of risk avoidance that crosses a line, where caution stops being wisdom and starts being the mechanism that keeps you exactly where you are, year after year after year. Here is what nobody teaches you about risk. Every financial decision you make is not a choice between risk and safety. It is a choice between 2 different kinds of risk, one visible, one invisible. When you take the opportunity, start the investment, launch the side income, make the career move, have the uncomfortable negotiation, you face visible risk, the risk of it not working. You can picture it, you can feel it. Your brain floods with worst-case scenarios. This risk feels enormous because you can see it. When you don't take the opportunity, you face invisible risk, the risk of staying exactly where you are while the world moves forward without you. The risk of your purchasing power quietly eroding while your money sits still. The risk of the compounding that never happened. The risk of the version of your life you never built. That risk is silent. There is no notification, no alarm, no moment where someone tells you, by not starting that investment 3 years ago, you just cost yourself $40,000 in future wealth. The cost simply accumulates in the dark, unseen, until one day you feel it without being able to name it. A study from researchers at the University of Chicago confirmed what many behavioral economists have long suspected. People consistently and significantly underestimate the cost of inaction and overestimate the cost of action. Our instincts are miscalibrated in exactly the wrong direction. The side income you didn't start because it might fail, what did 3 years of not starting actually cost you? The investment you didn't make because the market felt uncertain, what did sitting in cash cost you over that same period? The negotiation you avoided because it felt uncomfortable. What has that cost you in every single paycheck since? These are not rhetorical questions. They have real, calculable answers. And those answers are almost always more expensive than the risk you were trying to avoid. The complete question, the one the comfort trap never lets you ask, is not, what could go wrong if I do this? It is, what could go wrong if I do this, and what is the certain compounding cost of not doing it? Both halves matter. Comfort only ever shows you one.
Trap 2. And before you switch off, I am not about to tell you to quit your job. Stay with me. Here is the scenario. You took a job in your mid-20s. Good company, reliable pay, clear structure. The kind of job that feels like the responsible choice because it was at the time. But here is what is happening underneath that stability that most people never stop to examine. Every year you stay at the same company, your salary grows at the pace that company decides, typically between 2 and 4% annually, maybe 5% in a strong year. That is the internal market rate for your loyalty and your consistency. The external market rate for your skills is a completely different number, and most people never find out what it is. Research from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that the average wage increase when switching jobs is between 10 and 20% in a single move, not over 5 years of annual reviews, in one decision. And people who switch jobs strategically every 2 to 3 years during the growth phase of their career earn, on average, 50% more over their lifetime than people who remain loyal to one employer. 50% more over a lifetime. That is not a marginal difference. That is a fundamentally different financial life. Let's make it concrete. You're earning $50,000 at 25. You stay, get your 3% raises, and by 35, you're at around $67,000. Stable, respectable, comfortable. Your colleague leaves after 2 years and takes a 15% bump to $57,500. Does it again at 28, now earning $66,000. Again at 31, now at $76,000. By 35, while you're earning $67,000, they're earning $87,000, a $20,000 annual gap. That $20,000 gap, invested every year at a modest 7% return, is worth over $280,000 in future wealth over a decade, not because they were smarter, not because they worked harder, because they were willing to be uncomfortable once every 2 or 3 years, and you were not. The trap is not the stable job. The trap is staying in it past the point where it is still growing you. Because the moment a job stops growing your skills, your income, and your market value, staying still is not standing still. It is moving backwards, slowly, quietly, backwards. Ask yourself one question, not, is this job good enough? That question keeps you in the trap. The right question is this job still making me more valuable? If the honest answer is no, you now know exactly what that comfort is costing you.
Trap 3. The knockout punch. And if the first 2 traps made you uncomfortable, this one is going to make you want to open a brokerage account before this video ends. It's the delay. The I'll start investing properly when I've paid off this debt, when I've saved a bigger cushion, when the market calms down, when I understand it better, when life is less hectic, when things feel more settled. Every single one of those reasons is completely understandable. Every single one of them is also costing you money you will never, not ever, get back. Here are the numbers. Person A starts investing $200 a month at 25. They never increase it, they never do anything clever. They just put $200 into a low-cost index fund every month and leave it completely alone. By 65, at a historical average return of 7% per year, they have approximately $525,000. Person B waits until 35. Same $200 a month, same fund, same return, same discipline.
they end up with approximately $243,000. Same person, same money, same investment. One decision, 10 years of waiting for the right moment, and they end up with less than half the wealth. But here is where it gets truly painful. To end up with the same $525,000 starting at 35, person B would need to invest $430 a month instead of $200. They would need to more than double their monthly contribution every single month for 30 years just to break even with someone who simply started 10 years earlier. That is the price of waiting for the right moment. $230 extra every month for 3 decades because starting felt uncertain and waiting felt safe. And here is the part that should remove every remaining excuse. The market felt uncertain in 2005. It felt uncertain in 2012. It felt uncertain in 2019. It feels uncertain right now. It will feel uncertain in 2030 and in 2035 and in every year between now and then. Every single person who ever built real wealth through investing did it in an uncertain market because there has never been any other kind. The market you are waiting to calm down has never been calm. It never will be. Waiting for certainty is not caution. It is the most expensive financial decision most people ever make. They just never see the bill. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is before this video ends.
So here is the invoice, the one Comfort has been running up on your behalf without showing you. The risk you never took. Impossible to calculate precisely because you cannot see the alternative timeline, but the research is consistent and clear. Inaction has a measurable, compounding, deeply underestimated cost. The opportunity you passed on because the downside felt too real. It had a price. You paid it without knowing. The loyalty that felt responsible, worth potentially $280,000 in lifetime wealth compared to someone who moved strategically, not because you failed, because you stayed comfortable past the point where comfort was serving you. The delay that felt cautious, $230 extra every single month for 30 years just to break even with someone who started a decade before you, because waiting felt safer than starting imperfectly. That is the comfort tax, the silent charge applied to your financial future every year that you chose how things feel over what the numbers say. Now, and I want to be direct about this, I am not telling you that your life is wrong. Comfort is not evil. Stability is not failure. Some people make conscious, fully informed decisions to prioritize security over growth, and that is a legitimate choice that deserves respect. The trap is not comfort itself. The trap is unconscious comfort. Staying because leaving feels hard. Delaying because starting feels uncertain. Avoiding risk because the downside is visible and the upside is not. That version, the version where you never made a real decision, you just drifted, that is the one with the invoice attached. What you now have that most people never get is clarity. You can see the trap. You know what it looks like, how it works, and exactly what it costs. Clarity is where the trap breaks. You cannot unsee this. And what you choose to do with it, starting today, not someday, is the only thing that separates the people who look back with satisfaction from the ones who look back and finally understand why things never quite added up. Quiet, almost gentle. After everything that came before, restraint hits harder than more intensity. The only question that remains is what you do next. Then stop completely. The pain of discipline is real. I won't pretend otherwise. Starting when you don't feel ready is hard. Moving when staying feels safe is uncomfortable. Taking the calculated risk when you can see the downside but not the upside requires something that doesn't come easily to most people. But the pain of discipline is measured in months. The pain of regret
is measured in decades. You have now seen the invoice. You know what the comfort trap has been charging you. You know where it lives, what it looks like, and exactly how it works. The only question that remains is what you do next. If this changed how you see your financial life, subscribe. We go deeper on this every single week. And the next video picks up exactly where this one ends, the specific math of what it takes to escape the middle-class financial ceiling. Real numbers, real steps, no comfort. It's right there. I'll see you in it.